Listen to me closely, because what you're calling chaos may be the very place where order is being born. There are moments in life when nothing lines up. Your plans fall apart. Your prayers feel unanswered. Your nights are longer than your days. And you keep asking, why does everything feel so disorganized? But I came to tell you today, disorder is not evidence of absence. It is often proof that something is being rearranged. Before anything meaningful is built, things must be moved, shifted, and sometimes shaken. And just because you can't see the blueprint doesn't mean there isn't one. What you're standing in right now is not confusion. It's construction. What feels like collapse is actually realignment. What you thought was chaos is really transition. You're not losing your mind. You're not falling behind. You're not forgotten. You are in the middle of a reordering season. The pressure you feel is not to destroy you. It's to position you. The uncertainty is not to paralyze you. It's to prepare you. And the silence is not rejection. It's instruction. So don't panic in the middle of the mess. Don't quit in the middle of the process. Don't walk away just because it looks unfinished. Because order is coming. Clarity is forming. Direction is emerging. And when this season is complete, you won't just survive it. You'll understand why it had to happen this way. Stay standing. Stay believing. Stay ready. Because God is bringing order out of your chaos. And when it settles, everything will make sense. Chaos is not the end of your story. It is the setup for something greater. And you need to hear that clearly today. When everything around you feels unstable, when plans collapse, when relationships shift, when doors you depended on suddenly close, the natural reaction is to assume that something has gone wrong. But what if nothing has gone wrong at all? What if the very confusion you're experiencing is evidence that something is being prepared, reshaped, and repositioned for a higher purpose? Chaos often looks like loss before it looks like progress. It feels like failure before it reveals direction. That's because order doesn't always arrive quietly. Sometimes order enters a room by turning tables, by moving furniture, by interrupting routines that were never meant to last. You're not uncomfortable because you're being destroyed. You're uncomfortable because you're being disturbed out of a place that could no longer hold where you're going next. We love stability, but growth rarely happens there. Stability can make you comfortable, and comfort can make you settle. Chaos, on the other hand, refuses to let you stay where you are. It shakes assumptions. It exposes weak foundations. It confronts habits, mindsets, and systems that worked for a season but cannot sustain the future that's coming. Chaos is not punishment. It is preparation. Think about how creation begins. Before anything beautiful takes shape, there is disorder. Before structure, there is emptiness. Before clarity, there is confusion. And yet, that confusion is not meaningless. It is full of potential. Everything needed for transformation is already present, even when it doesn't look organized yet. What feels like a mess is often raw material waiting for direction. The problem is that we judge the process too early. We walk into the middle of transformation and call it destruction. We see movement and call it instability. We experience transition and call it failure. But transition is not the absence of progress. It is progress in motion. You're not falling apart, you're being rearranged. Chaos exposes what order was hiding. It reveals dependencies that were unhealthy, systems that were fragile, and patterns that were limiting your growth. Sometimes things have to break so you can see what they were really made of. Sometimes what you lose was never meant to last, And what leaves creates room for what must arrive. You keep asking why things couldn't stay the same. But if they had, you would have stayed the same too. And you weren't created to remain stuck in yesterday's version of yourself. Chaos forces change when comfort would have kept you stagnant. It pushes you to think differently, pray differently, move differently. It stretches your capacity and challenges your perspective. What makes chaos so difficult is not just the disorder. It's the waiting. It's the space between what was and what will be. It's the silence between instructions. It's not knowing how long this season will last. But waiting does not mean nothing is happening. Some of the most important work happens where you cannot see it. Foundations are laid underground. Roots grow in darkness. Alignment happens before visibility. You want answers, but sometimes understanding comes after obedience. Sometimes clarity follows movement, not the other way around. If everything made sense, faith would not be required. And if faith is required, then what you're facing is not meaningless. It is meaningful enough to demand trust. Chaos also strips away illusions. It shows you who you really are when control is gone. It reveals where your confidence was placed and whether your strength came from circumstances or conviction. When everything is calm, it's easy to feel secure. But when things shake, what remains is what truly matters. And here's the part you must not miss. Chaos does not last forever. It has an expiration date. Disorder is temporary, but purpose is permanent. What you're walking through is a phase, not a final destination. The storm is loud, but it is not sovereign. The confusion is intense, but it is not in charge. Every shift you're experiencing is creating space for alignment. Every delay is protecting you from arriving too early. Every closed door is redirecting you towards something you couldn't see before. You're not being set back. You're being set up. One day, you will look back at this season with understanding instead of frustration. You'll see how the disruption saved you from staying somewhere too small. You'll recognize how the chaos forced you to grow muscles you didn't know you had. You'll realize that what felt like loss was actually release, and what felt like breaking was really building. So don't define your future by your current confusion. Don't name this season by how it feels today. What you are experiencing is not the end. It is the setup. The pieces are moving. The picture is forming. The order is coming. Hold on. Stay present. Keep moving forward even when it's uncomfortable. Because chaos is not your conclusion. It is the doorway to transformation. And when the dust settles, you won't just have survived it. You'll be stronger, wiser, clearer, and ready for what this season was preparing you to carry. Order does not begin when everything around you makes sense. Order begins the moment you decide to trust the process, even when nothing is clear. That is the turning point. That is the shift. Because clarity is not the door you walk through first. Faith is. If you wait until every question is answered, every detail explained, and every outcome guaranteed, you will stay stuck right where you are. Growth requires movement before explanation. Most people want order without uncertainty. They want results without risk, answers without patience, and progress without pressure. But real transformation does not work that way. Order is not something you stumble into accidentally. It is something that forms when you keep moving forward without full visibility. Trusting the process means you stop demanding to see the entire path and start believing that the next step is enough. There will be seasons when your life feels unfinished, when pieces don't connect, when effort doesn't immediately produce results. This is where trust becomes essential. Not trust in your emotions because emotions change. Not trust in circumstances because circumstances shift. But trust that what is happening now is not random, wasted, or pointless. Trust that even the delays are doing work you cannot yet measure. The process often feels slow because it is doing deep work, not surface work. Quick change adjusts behavior, but process transforms character. Quick answers fix symptoms, but process heals roots. And roots take time. You cannot rush alignment. You cannot speed up maturity. You cannot shortcut preparation without paying for it later. When you trust the process, you stop fighting every delay. You stop interpreting every obstacle as opposition. You stop assuming that discomfort means you're going the wrong way. Sometimes discomfort is confirmation that something old is being challenged and something new is being formed. Order doesn't always feel peaceful at first. Sometimes it feels disruptive because it's rearranging priorities, relationships, habits, and perspectives that no longer fit. Trusting the process also means accepting that you won't understand everything while you're inside it. Understanding often comes in hindsight. While you're walking through it, all you may have is instruction for today, strength for this moment, and enough insight to take the next step. And that is enough. You don't need the full picture to obey the next move. The struggle comes when you try to control what is meant to develop naturally. Control demands speed. Trust allows timing. Control says, I need this fixed now. Trust says, I will grow through this. Control creates anxiety because it depends on outcomes. Trust creates stability because it depends on purpose. There are lessons that only the process can teach you. Patience is learned in waiting. Wisdom is formed in uncertainty. Endurance is built under pressure. Discernment grows when choices are not obvious. If everything were easy, you would never develop the strength required for what's coming next. The process is not delaying your future. It is equipping you for it. You may feel like you are behind, but timing is not about speed. It's about alignment. Arriving too early can be just as damaging as arriving too late. Some doors require you to be ready on the inside before you walk through them on the outside. The process ensures that when opportunity meets you, you are prepared to sustain it. Trusting the process also means releasing comparison. When you look at others and measure your progress against theirs, you lose sight of your own path. Their process is not your process. Their pace is not your pace. What you don't see is the preparation behind what they're experiencing. Focus on what is being built in you, not what is being displayed in others. There will be moments when quitting feels logical. When walking away seems easier than staying committed. When doubt is loud and progress feels invisible. Those are the moments when trust matters most. Not because everything feels right, but because quitting would interrupt something that is still forming. The process is teaching you consistency when motivation fades. It's teaching you discipline when excitement wears off. It's teaching you how to stand when support is limited and affirmation is scarce. These lessons are not glamorous, but they are necessary. They shape resilience. They build confidence that doesn't depend on applause. Order emerges quietly. It shows up as emotional stability before external success. It appears as mental clarity before visible results. It develops as inner strength before outward victory. If you pay attention, you'll notice small shifts. How you react differently, how you think more clearly, how you recover faster. These are signs that the process is working. Trusting the process does not mean ignoring pain or pretending things are easy. It means refusing to let pain define the outcome. It means believing that what you're enduring is producing something valuable, even if you can't see it yet. It means staying open to learning instead of becoming bitter from waiting. One day the pieces will connect. The confusion will make sense. The delays will reveal their purpose. And you'll realize that order didn't suddenly appear. It was forming all along, in your patience, in your persistence, in your willingness to keep going without full clarity. So stay committed, stay teachable, stay grounded. Let the process do its work. Because order doesn't begin when everything is explained. It begins when you trust enough to keep moving forward anyway. Pressure is uncomfortable, but pressure is not your enemy. Pressure is a revealer. It exposes what has been hidden, strengthens what is weak, and activates what has been dormant. You may feel like everything in your life is tightening at the same time. Expectations increasing, responsibilities multiplying, options narrowing. But what you're experiencing is not random. Pressure has a purpose, and that purpose is alignment. Nothing valuable reaches its full potential without pressure. Raw material remains raw until it is pressed, shaped, refined, and tested. In the same way, potential inside you remains undeveloped until circumstances demand more from you than you thought you could give. Pressure doesn't create what's inside you. It reveals it. It pulls strength out of places you didn't know existed. It forces you to rise to a level you would never choose voluntarily. When life is easy, you can avoid confronting weaknesses. You can delay growth. You can live off what already works. But pressure removes that option. It doesn't ask permission. It demands response. And in responding, you discover who you really are. Not who you say you are, not who you want to be, but who you've been becoming all along. Many people mistake pressure for punishment. They assume that because life is hard, something must be wrong. But pressure is often a sign that something is right, that you are being trusted with more, stretched for more, prepared for more. You don't apply pressure to things you plan to discard. Pressure is applied to what has value. What makes pressure feel overwhelming is resistance. When you fight the process, the pressure feels heavier. When you cooperate with growth, the same pressure produces strength. Alignment happens when you stop asking why it's hard and start asking what it's shaping. Every demand placed on you is developing capacity. Every challenge is refining focus. Every stretch is expanding endurance. Pressure exposes priorities. It reveals what truly matters when everything cannot be held at once. Under pressure, distractions lose their appeal. Under pressure, excuses run out. Under pressure, you discover what you're willing to fight for and what you're willing to let go of. This clarity is not accidental. It is necessary for alignment. You may feel like the weight is too much, like the expectations are unfair, like the timing is wrong. But strength is not built by comfort, it is built by resistance. Muscles grow by being pushed past ease. Character grows the same way. Pressure teaches discipline. It teaches focus. It teaches decision-making under stress. These are not optional skills for where you're going. They are essential. Pressure also forces honesty. It strips away performance and pretense. You don't have the energy to pretend when you're under pressure. What remains is real, and real is what can be shaped. Alignment requires truth because you cannot build a strong future on false foundations. What feels like everything closing in is actually everything coming into position. Pressure aligns priorities, habits, relationships, and thinking. It removes what no longer fits and tightens what must remain. It brings precision. It creates structure. Without pressure, things stay loose, unfocused, and unstable. You might be tempted to escape the pressure, to look for relief instead of results. But relief without growth only delays development. If you run every time things get heavy, you will keep meeting the same pressure in different forms. The lesson will repeat until it is learned, because what is being developed is necessary for the next level. Pressure teaches you how to carry weight. And where you're going, weight is part of the assignment. Responsibility increases. Influence expands. Impact grows. You cannot step into those spaces without the strength to sustain them. Pressure is training you for longevity, not just arrival. There will be moments when pressure makes you question yourself, when it exposes fear, when it challenges confidence. But even doubt has a role. It pushes you to seek wisdom, to refine skill, to deepen dependence on what truly grounds you. Pressure does not mean you are weak. It means you are being strengthened. Notice how pressure changes your focus. You become more intentional. You waste less time. You think more clearly. You move with purpose. These are signs of alignment. Your life is not falling apart. It is being tightened into shape. One day, you will look back and realize that the season that felt the heaviest produced the strongest version of you. You'll see that pressure removed arrogance and replaced it with humility, removed fear and replaced it with courage, removed confusion and replaced it with clarity. What once felt unbearable will become undeniable proof of growth. So don't resent the pressure. Respect it, learn from it, let it do its work. Because pressure is not trying to crush you, it is trying to shape you. And what it is shaping you into is someone capable, grounded, resilient, and aligned with purpose. You are not breaking under pressure. You are being formed by it. And when this season is complete, you won't just be relieved. You'll be ready. Timing is not about how fast you move. It's about when you arrive. And one of the hardest lessons to learn in life is that being early can be just as damaging as being late. You've been frustrated because things didn't happen when you expected them to. You prayed, prepared, planned, and pushed, yet the door didn't open. And if you're not careful, you'll start calling delay a denial, when in reality, delay is often protection. Speed feels productive, but timing creates sustainability. You can rush into a moment you are not ready to carry. And what should have been a blessing becomes a burden. There are opportunities that look good, but require a version of you that has not yet been fully formed. Timing makes sure that when the moment comes, you have the maturity, wisdom, endurance, and discernment to handle what you're stepping into. You don't see what's being prevented when things slow down. You don't see the mistakes you're not making, the damage you're not suffering, or the unnecessary losses you're being spared. Delay keeps you from arriving with incomplete character, shallow understanding, or fragile foundations. What feels like being held back is often being held together. We live in a world that celebrates speed, fast results, instant success, quick recognition. But depth cannot be rushed. Strength cannot be microwaved. Wisdom does not develop overnight. Timing allows growth to catch up with opportunity. Without that alignment, success becomes unstable and progress becomes temporary. When timing feels slow, impatience tries to take control. Impatience says, "I'm ready now." Timing says, "You're almost ready." And that difference matters more than you think. Almost ready still needs refinement. Almost ready still needs clarity. Almost ready still needs restraint. Timing knows what impatience ignores, that finishing well matters more than starting fast. There are seasons when nothing seems to move, no matter how much effort you put in. Those seasons are not wasted. They are formative. While you're waiting, your thinking is being sharpened. Your motives are being purified. Your priorities are being realigned. Timing uses stillness to prepare you for motion. You may feel overlooked, but sometimes you're being hidden for development. Visibility without preparation creates pressure without stability. Timing keeps you out of spaces that would expose you before you're equipped. It ensures that when you step forward, you can stand under the weight of what comes with it. Delays teach patience, and patience is not passive. It is powerful. Patience trains you to manage emotions, control reactions, and remain consistent without immediate reward. These skills are not optional for long-term success. They are essential. Timing uses patience to build inner strength that speed would skip. You've questioned why others seem to move ahead faster. But comparison blinds you to the fact that every path has its own pace. What you don't see are the shortcuts that will later demand repayment, or the unhealed gaps that will eventually surface. Timing may look slow now, but it saves you from breakdown later. There are conversations you're not ready to have yet. Decisions you're not ready to make yet. Responsibilities you're not ready to carry yet. Timing ensures that when those moments come, you respond with wisdom instead of impulse, discernment instead of emotion. Delay also deepens dependence on purpose rather than outcome. When things don't move quickly, you're forced to examine why you want what you want. Motives get tested in waiting. Timing filters intentions, making sure that what you pursue aligns with who you're becoming. What you call waiting is actually preparation in disguise. You are learning how to stand without applause, how to stay consistent without results, how to remain faithful without recognition. These lessons build integrity. They develop character that does not collapse under success. If everything happened instantly, you wouldn't value it. If doors opened too quickly, you wouldn't be ready to protect what comes through them. Timing adds weight to the reward. It makes arrival meaningful. It ensures that what you gain is something you can keep. One day, you'll realize that the delay saved you from burnout, disappointment, or regret. You'll see that arriving later meant arriving stronger. That waiting produced clarity. That slowing down prevented mistakes that speed would have made permanent. So don't rush the season you're in. Don't force what hasn't aligned yet. Don't measure your progress by someone else's clock. Trust timing more than speed, because speed can get you there, but timing keeps you there. You are not behind. You are not late. You are right where preparation is catching up with purpose. And when the moment comes, and it will come, you won't just arrive. You'll be ready. Every new season requires a new structure, and this is where many people struggle the most. They want fresh results but keep old systems. They pray for increase but cling to habits that were designed for survival, not growth. They asked for expansion while holding on to mindsets that were only meant to get them through a smaller season. But what carried you here cannot carry you there. Structure determines sustainability. You can receive something new, but if you don't have the capacity to hold it, you will lose it. Blessings without structure become burdens. Opportunities without systems become stress. Growth without alignment becomes chaos all over again. That's why change doesn't just happen around you. It must happen within you. A new season exposes the limits of old patterns. What once worked now feels heavy. What once fit now feels tight. What once made sense now feels outdated. That discomfort is not failure. It is feedback. It's telling you that your life is expanding, but your structure hasn't caught up yet. Many people resist restructuring because it feels like loss. Letting go of familiar routines, relationships, and ways of thinking can feel risky. But holding on to what no longer fits is more dangerous than releasing it. You cannot build a future while protecting the past. You cannot step into something new while insisting on staying the same. Structure includes how you manage your time, how you guard your energy, how you set boundaries, and how you prioritize growth. It includes how you respond to pressure, how you process emotions, and how you make decisions. A new season demands upgraded discipline, clearer focus, and stronger boundaries. Without those, the weight of the new season will overwhelm you. You may be asking why things feel harder now than before. It's because your life is asking more of you. Increased responsibility requires increased organization. Expanded influence requires increased accountability. Greater purpose requires greater intentionality. Old structures were sufficient when demands were smaller, but this season is calling for more. Restructuring often begins with subtraction. Before you add anything new, you must remove what is unnecessary. Distractions, unhealthy attachments, unproductive habits, and misplaced priorities must be addressed. You can't keep everything and still move forward. Some things must be released so others can be received. This process can feel lonely because not everyone can go with you into a new structure. Some people were assigned to a previous version of you. Their role was real, but it was seasonal. Holding on to them out of guilt or fear will only delay your growth. Alignment matters more than familiarity. New structure also requires new thinking. You cannot solve next level problems with old level mindsets. This season demands intentional learning, emotional maturity, and the willingness to unlearn what no longer serves you. Growth requires humility, the courage to admit that what worked before is not enough now. Structure is not about control, it's about stewardship. It's learning how to manage what you're given so it doesn't manage you. It's choosing discipline over impulse, preparation over convenience, and long-term stability over short-term comfort. Structure creates freedom by removing chaos. Without structure, success becomes exhausting. You're always reacting, always catching up, always overwhelmed. With structure, you move with purpose. You respond instead of react. You plan instead of panic. You lead instead of chase. Structure turns potential into progress. You may feel stretched because your life is asking you to grow into a stronger version of yourself. That stretch is intentional. It's making room. But room must be supported by structure or it collapses. New capacity requires reinforced foundations. This is why rushing into a new season without preparation is dangerous. You might arrive, but you won't last. Structure ensures longevity. It keeps you grounded when momentum increases. It helps you remain consistent when excitement fades. You are not being restricted. You are being refined. Structure does not limit you, it supports you. It gives shape to your growth. It protects what matters most. It allows you to carry more without breaking. This season is inviting you to upgrade how you live, think, and lead. Not because you weren't good enough before, but because you're becoming more now. Growth always demands change. Expansion always requires adjustment. So don't resist the restructuring. Embrace it. Let go of what no longer fits. Build systems that support where you're going, not where you've been. Strengthen your foundations. Clarify your priorities. Guard your energy. Because what's coming into your life is too important to be carried by outdated structures. And when your structure aligns with your season, you won't just receive what's next. You'll be able to sustain it. Let me tell you something. You did not come this far to stop here. You did not survive the storms, the confusion, the pressure, the delays, and the adjustments only to walk away before your breakthrough. Every challenge, every shake-up, every unanswered question has been shaping you, refining you, and aligning you for something greater than you can see right now. What looks like chaos is only the prelude to clarity. What feels like delay is only the setup for divine timing. What seems like pressure is only the weight that strengthens you to carry the blessings that are coming. So stand firm. Stay focused. Keep believing even when the path is unclear. Keep trusting even when the days feel long. Keep moving even when progress seems invisible. Do not despise the process. Do not resist the refining, and do not abandon the journey. The same God who has carried you this far is the same God who will bring order out of your chaos. He is orchestrating every detail, aligning every piece, and preparing every step. This is your season. This is your moment. Stay ready, stay strong, and get ready to step into the fullness of what has been prepared for you. Because the best is not just coming. It is already on the way.